So the next topic that we wanted to talk about was Tencent, and it looks like they're just about done with buying Sumo, which is the developers who made games such as Crackdown and Sackboy, the most recent PS5 exclusive.
Yeah, which is a pretty high quality game.
Right. Yeah, and they're actually purchasing them for 1.3 billion or somewhere around that figure. And that's interesting. I mean, how many, what hits does Sumo have?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Why they're so thirsty for this company? Why do they want Sumo so badly?
Of course, they're not getting. I don't think they're getting the IPs because I believe Microsoft owns Crackdown.
And Sony owns Sackboy. They just
they do have their own IPs, but they're mostly
it's like contracting out.
Yeah, they're mostly like mercs for hire.
They're like contractors, right? It's like, yeah, we'll contract this title out to you. They do a good job with them too. There were some other games too that they did that were like remakes or they're not remakes, but they're like spin-offs of already existing IPs. They do a lot of that work, right? So I don't exactly know what Tencent wants with Sumo. That's what's a mystery to me, is I don't know what they want with Sumo. I don't know, because supposedly they're going to be able to keep their contracts they have already.
Oh, okay.
With
interesting.
Whatever contracts and working they're doing with Sony or Microsoft, they're allowed to continue doing that. I think what's crazy though is I don't think I would want to sell my company to Tencent. I don't think I'd want to sell it to a Chinese conglomerate who's run basically by the Chinese government. I don't think I'd want, as an owner, to put myself in a position to be owned by a company like that. That's weird. But they did give them 43% more than what their market share was worth. They gave them 43% more.
I'm wondering if the people that's on there, or maybe the people that own it are even still there. Maybe they just sold it and
maybe. But I heard that all the upper management were able to keep their positions and keep working there. They just all became millionaires overnight.
Tencent is a big company.
Yes,
Tencent
they own
money.
League of Legends, Riot Games.
Tencent owns a lot. So
they own a whole lot.
And the most recent game that Sumo's been working on is Hood Outlaws and Legends, which
you're right. That was there. It has come out.
It has come out.
So that was their most recent game.
Yeah, that's their most
and that's a brand new IP. So maybe Tencent gets that now. They bought an IP like that, but they definitely didn't buy Sackboy.
The IP is owned by Sumo though, or if that's it probably is.
That's not an existing IP.
No.
So either someone paid them to make that, or that's theirs.
I think it's theirs because it's on PlayStation and Microsoft. Right. So I think it would have to be theirs in order to be able to float back and forth. Because if PlayStation owned that IP, it would not be on Microsoft.
Right.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
So
it's just they got paid a huge sack of money. I think it's a little scary because China is such a I don't know. They're pretty evil. Government, and to know that they can just kind of come and give you, I don't know, because they try to gobble up a lot of things. They've been recently trying to gobble up farmland in America. They've been trying to gobble up, companies, American-owned companies as much as they can. Sumo is UK-owned, not American-owned.
Right.
But there was another one, WAPO or whatever, or something like that. That was a Chinese gaming developing company.
Okay.
And they wanted to buy American-owned. America says, no, you can't do business. The American government said you can't do business with that company just because you can't trust to know if it's Chinese, if it's infiltrated by the Chinese government to the point where you're being spied on or whatever it may be. And so I just think that but I don't blame them because they were offered $1.3 freaking billion.
Yeah.
But China has so much money to think that they could just kind of come in and just buy up a lot of our media and censor it. Is more so what I would not want. I would not want my games to be controlled by that government. Because you heard about that one instance where Call of Duty, I think it was Call of Duty Cold War or one of the Call of Duties, had the Tiananmen Square in their game. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Tiananmen Square Tiananmen Square is when the Chinese public were protesting the Chinese government wanting democracy. They were wanting democracy because China's a communist nation. They wanted democracy, the right to vote. There's no votes that are really held in China. The Chinese government has. They recently just enacted their president to be a president for life. So Xi Jinping. Like it's a backwards situation. But anyways, the people were. They were going against the Chinese government because they wanted democracy. The Chinese came in there and just killed them all, and just like mowed them down. So it's a stain on their history. Yeah, and
I do remember that there was like some wasn't some protests going on in China?
Oh, in Hong Kong, free Hong Kong.
Yeah, there was in Hong Kong, and then there was
and they arrested those people.
I think it was like was it a Blizzard player or some player that was playing like a really popular
said free Hong Kong and Blizzard.
Yeah.
Ban them.
And
yes, you're right.
Ban them because they were they didn't want to be under the wrath of China.
Yeah.
Because they still want their games published over there.
Because they still want their games published over there.
China has a lot of people in there, so you would definitely want your games to be published over there. But I do know that they have a lot of censorships and different things going on. So
I guess what I'm saying is like
if your game is all of a sudden greatly altered because of censorship. I mean, but I guess a lot of them have to do that. Like there's a lot
if you want your game over there in China, but see, and just because China's an evil regime, like it's really hard. Like that they're ethnically cleansing the Turks in their country, the Turkish people, throwing them and killing them, making sterilizing them, throwing them in concentration camps, over 1 million. So I mean, they're just a rotten government. And it's one thing to be owned by like a private industry, but to be owned like by a government and then like a rotten government, I don't think I would want my company to be owned that way. I would probably say no to Tencent, even though they offered me 1.3 billion, because I would think if I'm not wanted by Tencent, there's got to be someone else out there who wants me quite a bit too. But maybe not for 1.3 billion, which is why I understand it's hard to say no, man.
But also, sell it off.
Is there a fiduciary obligation? I wonder, like in contracting or something between like the stakeholders and investors, that if you're ever offered like a certain amount over your value, that you're responsible. Like I wonder if there's a fiduciary responsibility to sell if like a certain threshold's hit, because that's a huge percentage over what you're worth.
Maybe if you're talking about to your investors.
Yeah, to your investors and stuff. Like I wonder if that happened.
That could be.
And like you don't really have a choice. You're responsible. We've been offered this much money. We
everybody
we
wants
got
to
it.
get the payout. That's why they invested
exactly.
in the company.
So that's a tough thing too.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting dynamic going on with this. I really do wonder, had Sumo been American, had the American government allowed that relationship to take place. I'm curious. Because Sumo is UK owned and different laws, different rules there. I would just be wondering because China's an adversarial country, how that would go over. But I think it's cool that they're gonna supposedly let them keep making the games they want to make, and they aren't going to make them cancel any of the arrangements or partnerships they have already. So that's good news.
Yeah, for sure. I mean.
And that's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, but Tencent has their hands in a lot of stuff.
They do.
Yeah, Epic Games, Supercell,
Riot Games,
Activision Blizzard,
of course,
Ubisoft.
See, everyone is like,
and what we mean by their hands
enslaved.
on them is that they've invested in these companies. They have stock in these companies. So Tencent is it's a big stock to purchase, and Tencent has stock in like a lot of things. So yeah, but
you got the tendrils everywhere, man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's cool. Congrats to them boys over there at Sumo.
Congrats to Sumo.
1.3
Definitely
billion
congrats
is,
to Sumo.
That's some life changing numbers right
that's
there.
a huge amount of money, man.
But
that's incredible.
Yeah, but moving on.
I love you, me.